Okay.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of PGGM Internet Radio and its management. Furthermore, the views and opinions of the guests are the views of the individuals expressing them and may not reflect those of the host, the show, the management, or the station.
You're tuned in to the Talking Points Talk Show with your host, the Princess of Radio, Evangelist DJ Renee, Monday through Friday, starting at 8 a.m. All right, all right. Now we can go on. Who was talking? Well, welcome y'all, welcome y'all, welcome y'all. Y'all heard them. Welcome to Talking Points Talk Show. And you know we played a lot of music on part one. So now we got some people on the panel to talk. So we are talking about knowing your worth. If you have a project that you're selling, and hopefully I see my boy coming in. We might get to talk about some politics before we get out of here. But right now we'll talk about knowing your worth and knowing what your craft is worth when you are in business. Okay, so where did we leave off at? I know Pastor Jay had talked and Mike was talking about how he don't lean with his prices for people who just trying to get something for nothing or want to get something for less, want to play him, but they go other places and they pay what they're supposed to. But he said if a homeless person comes, he'll probably give them something, he'll, feed them because he believes that they are hungry, which makes sense. And that reminds me at Wendy's where I work sometime in the evening part time, one of the managers, sometimes, they have people that they do maybe feed, I don't know, as a courtesy, maybe they know, but someone who came in and was saying that they was hungry, and this particular person is not quick to, which is a business, and you can't really just give a cooperation food away, but they won't give, they wouldn't give that person something as fast as they would just somebody who's able to buy their own food. So I like what Mike said that he do in his business. And I already know when my daughter fully opens her business of feeding like it's supposed to be opening, that the homeless people, she is not going to charge, she's going to feed them. But as far as other people, she have pretty reasonable price slated for her business, but there's some other people who have prices that's not as reasonable, and they don't want to put nothing on the plate. So she's learning to bring her prices up some. But like I said, she is her mama's daughter, so she's always working up in the health and the love. But you can't run a business giving everything away. And I have this person that I call my uncle that used to run a shop, and he was so lenient with trying to help or trying to treat his friends that a lot of times he gave a lot of stuff away, and you don't get a profit like that. So even with that, how do you handle that once you really go in business? Everybody want to break it. I must say I'm guilty, but I just haven't had it because even now my daughter have products, even though she hasn't officially started the business, the enemy has been blocking that too for about over 4 years. But she's ready to go, but there's some more things that she's going to have to get to do it all. But she got me a little tab. But how do you get past all the tabbing and stuff? And I know sometimes some people you can tab, but you can't tab everybody. So that's out on the floor. What's I'll go with TB first. What's your thought on what we're talking about? First of all, TB, and also with the tabs when you have a business for your family and you're supposed to be close friends.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, let me first say, hey, Sissy. You know I'm at work. So you already know how this stuff is going down, but we're going to try this again.
Okay, okay, okay,
Hello,
okay.
brother. Don't do that. And don't you even do it. You want somebody else handling that. We in front of company. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So I do have a business, and when I say I experience it. So what I try my best to get people to understand, when you are starting up, when you have a business, see the prices don't just change because you got a business. Like no. You know they don't we don't get just discounts just because we business. No. And for me, I have I have organic things, so the prices tend to be high, right?
Excuse me. Yes,
So
sir.
I am going. I have to budget and price my items accordingly. And to me, it's no point of me having a business if the reality of my situation is I'm giving out more than I'm profiting. And so what people don't understand, I not only have to pay for ingredients, I have to pay for packaging. I gotta pay for labels. I gotta pay for a website. I got to pay taxes. So all of those things that people don't really see, I'm getting paid for. So I gotta put a price on my item accordingly, along with the quality, because that makes a big difference. And so I've realized that people don't understand that I can't have a business but be putting myself in a hole to accommodate your financial position. I can't do that. No
Okay.
way can I survive. I'll put it that way. What I what I do, I price myself according to the total amount that I'm paying for everything, on top of I do have to have a slight profit, right? I
Hi.
have to profit some way, somehow. I can't just be doing it. So I also price my items according to that. But what I do include in my business is, hey, listen, there are perks if you do decide to come back. There are perks if you
Excuse me.
decide to link up to my business, maybe receive email alerts that give you coupons. Certain little perks that I do have, and people have to realize that there is not a company out here, not one company out here. You can't go to Neiman Marcus and ask for a discount. You can't go to Marshalls and say, hey, I see that this price, that this is on it, which means it's a clearance price. Can I get a discount on that? We don't go into these stores where some of the profitable, I don't want to say it because I don't want to offend nobody, but you can't go in these stores and ask for discount.
I'm listening. What happened? She went out. Okay.
Just allow people to come and say, hey, what deal can you give me? No, because if I was in Walmart, if I was in Neiman Marcus, if I was in Coach, if I come, you're not gonna ask them for a price. I mean for a hookup. So we're not gonna do that, because in order for my business to thrive, in order for my business to thrive, I have to put myself, I have to give even my business boundaries. I have to let them know, hey, listen, I do know my worth, and my worth is specified in that price right there. And in order for my business to continue to bloom and thrive, and me be able to continue my inventory and everything, this is what I need. So even with family, sometimes with my family, I might pull from my own personal stash or whatever it is, because I do use my own product. I might pull from my own personal stash, but I don't allow them to prostitute my business. No. You're not gonna prostitute my gift or my business, because the reality of it is I had to do a lot of time and research put into me building this business. A lot of time and research went into me learning about the product, learning what they do, learning what about the repercussions of using, learning some of the side effects. A lot of time I invested in that. Time that some people, you want the product, you weren't willing to do it. So guess what? You paying me to do it. But I think sometimes, because of family, or because of you being connected to me, people have to understand that has absolutely nothing to do with the business portion of it. I think that sometimes, for me, I have to tell my family and my friends, you should want to support your people. You should want to. You support other people, and they already rich. They already got it. But you see me, but because we have a connection, you want don't do that. That you prostitute me then. Absolutely not. So I don't allow anybody. When it comes to my business, this is TLB in business mode. Now, when we talking about something outside of me being a business owner, okay, you gonna get a different side of me. But my business also helps feed my dreams. My business also helps me reach my goals. My business also helps me get my family to an even better place. So I can't allow nothing anybody to come in there and disrupt where I'm trying to go within my business. I can't do that. And so I put boundaries with people now. I love what the brother was saying, how, he's a chef and he does have an avenue as to where if someone is homeless and he can give in that retrospect. I understand that and I agree to a certain degree, but I also use discernment when it comes to that. Because let's be honest here, everybody ain't right. And don't get me wrong, I do let God judge that, and I will move accordingly. But I'm also gonna let God tell me if that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm not gonna just take no. I'm gonna allow God to tell me if that's what I should be doing. Should I be giving to this particular person? Should I be doing that? Because we have some leeches out here that know, let's be honest here, where we stand when it comes to the word of God, and some people can see that light in you, and they will literally just try to as my sister say, like spiritual vampires, and they want to reap the benefits of the fact that who you connected to and who you stand for, but they don't want no part for that life. So I got to use discernment within that too. So I don't allow anybody to come to disrupt the goal because it gave me the vision. And I moved according to how God wanted me to move to obtain the goal. And I am still moving in that aspect of how God wants to move me, where He wants to move me. Even the people that He connects me to within my goal, I'm going to be mindful of how I move. I'm going to be mindful of who I give to. I'm going to go to God in every aspect because I don't know where He wants to take me. So I just move that way, if that makes sense.
Amen. Amen. That makes a lot of sense. We're talking about our businesses and how we allow people to get credit or what have you. Uh, Minister Ernest, you're in the big box and you're welcome to come up your mic. We're talking about not allowing people to take advantage of you as a business owner and not to just want to get credit all the time or not want to pay your prices, always want you to change your prices for them. And we were talking about me and my ministry and my business of 20 years that I have pretty much not made the money that I was supposed to make on it because I've been giving away the talents and the gifts for free. One of them is taking pictures and one of them is videographing and one of them is promotions, putting out flyers and advertising. So what's your thought on getting to nitty gritty and taking a stand on business? Brother Kaya? Okay. He must don't hear me. Okay. Uh did you wanna come in, Brother Kaya?
Hello.
Hey, I hear you now.
Hey, all right. I'm all right. I'm just listening. I just want to listen in and see what's the talk about. Just listening in.
Okay, and we do have my politic man on. I'm gonna bring him up in a minute. Okay. Frank, uh frequency. Frequency vibes. What's going on with you today?
How you doing this man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. What's your thought on business and how you handle business and how you handle family and how you handle friends.
Well, I don't got no business. I ain't got no. I'll be 48 in February. I don't got no family.
Okay.
When it comes to friends, that's different too. Uh,
Well, if you had a business, uh, would you be so quick to lower your prices for people or give your product away because you're so soft-hearted and you say if it's a food chain or something like that?
I, I, I got you. If I had a business, I'm gonna stand 10 toes down. Stand on business.
Okay.
And I was gonna say this about Tia Traffic. I got something for you. Stop, man. Don't do that. Stop, man. You, every time I see you on the live, you prophesy. You got a word. It's in literally. It's in your belly. Let it go. Release it. Don't stop. That's all I got. Princess, I respect. Always respect. That's all I got. Tia, stop that track star. Stop running. It's in your gut. Mm-hmm.
So he's saying to Lady Tia, it's got more down deep inside of that, and you be talking, but he says it's got some deep rooted stuff that you can bring out. And I think she's trying to get it out, and she's getting there, and she's found her platforms. And
I'm not trying to correct you because I can't correct you. You're not just a prophetess. You are a prophet. The, I'm not done. The gift has no gender. The gift has a calling. You are a prophet. And when you be talking, I heard you last night, and you was going in. You stop running for somebody to chase you down. That's all I got.
all right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, Masa, uh, you gonna come off the mic? You ready to come back in?
Yes, ma'am. I would say, whether you can see it as marketplace, ministry, or business, wisdom is the principal thing, so we should get that. And now I get an understanding. Understand that in business, this is a difference between a LLC, 501c3, nonprofit. What is your mindset?
Yes,
We're
sir.
talking business, and we ain't giving out handouts.
Come on now.
So we're going into business. Then this is the conflict you have when you have church background. Say,
Yes, sir.
freely you have received, so freely you should give.
Come on now.
That mindset spills over into business. And so now, if you can preach, teach, pray, prophesy, or something like that, then, or if you have some type of product, everything gotta be just free. You know what I'm saying?
Talk about it.
Everything. Yeah. You can sing. You should sing for the Lord.
Come on
I
now.
want you here in my conference. So book your own hotel, pay for your own gas, pay for your own food.
Help us,
and
Lord.
from your family. Okay, probably take off work. Okay.
Whoa.
Bills that ain't gonna be paid, it come to but I can't say I'm on your platform. Yeah. Just do it again, Monster. I'm catching myself. Yeah. Oh, mercy, glory, hallelujah. Use them feelings. Yeah, so that's the problem. That's the problem. God wants a return on his investment.
That's it. That's it.
And many of us are burying that talent that God has given us because people are saying that you need to use that free for me. If I love the Lord. It's giving manipulation, it's giving broke spirit, it's giving you don't value me, it's giving a whole bunch of things.
Yes, sir.
It's giving a whole lot. Perhaps more than I can name in this time.
Yes, sir.
So going into the business, I love the Lord. You better believe. See, and even in the Bible days, the men and women of God, they had trades. You know what I'm saying? They were tent makers. You know, linen and things of that nature. You better believe that somebody was saying, go ahead and make a tent for the Lord for us.
Oh.
But tell me why y'all finna have church out there in that song. You want to pay for this here?
Oh, goodness. Oh, Lord.
A tent or not? That's a discussion. And you ain't gonna make me feel bad about it either.
Oh, my goodness.
Return on his investment.
I love it.
Return on his investment. There is a way to take your passion and turn it into a paycheck without pimping God's people.
Now, that's it.
It's the way to do that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And so, when I spoke earlier about how we should not acquiesce to the mindset or the murmuring or the quote negative thinking of some people, I spoke about how the giraffe should not be listening to the turtle, or the eagle should not be listening to the pigeon, or the diamond should really focus on the hay, the cubic zirconia, because we are uniquely different and we are seen different. Now, turtle, speak on your level. Pigeon, little bird, speak on your level. Mm-hmm. But I'm a giraffe up here with it. You know, I'm an eagle with it. You understand what I'm saying? You don't see from my worldview. You speaking from down there. But now you got to make sure that you don't have giraffe neck potential, but a turtle mindset or a turtle perspective.
Okay.
In other words, you know, and this is the problem. We don't know our worth. We talk like we do. But
my
we really
God.
don't know it. We don't place no price on ourselves. And generally, so we don't do it in friendships or relationships. Mm-hmm. And this is why people get treated like trash and married in the church. Mm-hmm. No, but your worth carries. It don't matter what setting you place a diamond is. It's still the same diamond. They say, princess, now this is what they say, princess. Beloved, they say, a bottle of water on the street corners, let's say Fiji water. Bottle of water. Well, they don't really be having that Fiji water on the corner. They be having maybe that Store Brand or maybe Ozarka, maybe. But a bottle of water, our water boy on the corner, when you pull up at the light, that probably go for $1.50. Yeah, great value. Now, that same bottle of water, princess, that same bottle of water that's sold for $1 on the corner, you take that same bottle of water and you put it inside of a store, that thing probably goes for $3. Uh-huh. Now you take that same bottle of water that's $3 in the store and put it on an airplane. Oh, that same bottle of water may run you $5. Don't go to Disneyland. Yeah, that same bottle of water that was $1 on the corner, that thing might run you $7.50. May run you $6.50. So sometimes it's the price that you place on your product, and it's the place that you place that product in. That's right. Come on now. You place it in a different demographic around certain people that recognize the value of it. They'll be willing to pay for it. Come on now. It's the same bottle of water. And so, in our own personal life, or when it comes to our product, you just got to put it in the midst of a person or people that would appreciate it. Okay. That price is not too much for a person that appreciates it. That's price, that's commodity, that's product. Your standards as it relates to how you're going to be talked to and treated, married or not, friendship or not, mother or father or not, that is determined by the price and the setting you place yourself in. It's not the product, it's the person or the people or the setting. So we should be mindful of that as we present ourselves and we present our commodity. That's my thought, for instance. All right. And Martha,
I do want to take heed to all the stuff that we were talking, and we want everybody who's listening as far as this can be heard and seen by way of Facebook, by way of TikTok, by way of YouTube. We hope somebody is getting something, somebody's learning something, how to conduct and how to handle themselves. Okay, well, I have my friend that is on here that I haven't seen in a while. And if y'all can stick around, I appreciate it because we can go back and talk to some more other things. But I have my political friend. Are you here, Manu?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey man, I've been missing you. I've been needing to talk about these politics. Thank God Mr. W has been coming in. I know you be busy and doing a lot of stuff. But what's the latest? What's the latest? What's on the news? What can we be concerned about? I know we need to still go out and vote up in the midterm, and but what is going in place right now that's immediately affecting the underprivileged or maybe poor people, what happened?
So there's a lot going on right now. I
Oh,
think if I'm going to focus, we got a few disasters that are going on. Namely the major one that everybody's focused on is the fires out in California that are that have actually claimed the lives of quite a few people. And we're seeing something with this situation that is both beautiful and ugly. The beautiful is that we're seeing a lot of people come together, neighbors helping neighbors, and not just Americans. We see first responders from Mexico, even South Africa, even Ukraine. Even the president of Ukraine is offering to send 150 first responders from Ukraine. They're in the middle of
excuse me.
conflict, and they're willing to send people here to help us combat the fire. So we're seeing this beautiful unity, not just within American communities affected by this, and not just by American communities who actually care about people across the nation, but from the world, from our allies who are standing up and seeing that there's disaster unfolding, and they're willing to send people. Now, the ugly part, unfortunately, is you have one side of our political spectrum that rather than feel empathy and focus on trying to prevent the disaster and provide relief for the disaster, they're playing politics. They're trying to blame the Democrats for this. They're trying to Republicans in Congress are even talking about not sending money unless putting certain things on relief funding, specifically uh, we're not going to send this relief to California unless you guys change such and such policies to conservative policies. So rather than being concerned with people who are losing their homes and in several cases losing their lives, they're more concerned with playing politics, and that's an absolutely disgusting thing to see, especially here in America, where supposedly we're supposed to be a great nation. Um,
Wait, let me
so yeah,
stop you a minute. Let me stop you. So what you're telling me, they're doing like they did back in 2020. They want to stop everything and don't want to. Well, put it like this: before Biden get out, they want to put some bad policies in to help their future agenda. So it won't do no good for us to be trying to get certain people in the midterm that can change some stuff. They want to make hard laws and hard rules that is not beneficial, and then they want to do it before Biden goes out, and they don't want to send the stuff over here and focus on what's going on because they want it to wait to the incoming president come in next week, so then they can release all the good stuff and give it to his credit.
yeah. Well, I mean, more than anything, what they're doing is trying to make it look like this entire thing is Democrats' fault because Democrats somehow control fires, apparently.
and they want to make it seem as if Democrats are incompetent and use that as a way to,
Excuse me.
mainly in this particular case, gain a foothold in California politics. Because California is well known for being a blue state, and Republicans, whenever a blue state is on the ballot for natural disaster relief, they always play this game of, oh, well, it's the Democrats' fault, it's the Democrats' fault. But you'll notice in the case of situations like here in my state of North Carolina, where we got hit by a hurricane, and it's still the case that a lot of Western North Carolina is hurting because of that. Democrats voted unanimously to send relief. They didn't play this politic game. They didn't play around with people's lives. They didn't put restrictions on it. They didn't say, oh, well, we'll send this aid only if you do this. No, they immediately voted to send aid to my state is, I mean, you can say it's purple, but it leans red. And then, Democrats didn't have a problem with it, but when Republicans are asked to send aid to a blue state, suddenly it's this whole political game. And that's what I'm saying is disgusting. Like I said, we're seeing this beautiful unity from one group of people, including other nations that are helping us out. And then on the other hand, we have people who see this disaster unfolding, see people desperately need help, and instead of being empathetic and caring about American citizens, are just playing this game for more power and for more control and for more propaganda.
You breaking up, Manuel?
No, I was just done.
Oh, okay. Well, for that part, okay, we're gonna get back to because I know you got some more. But to the panel, I know Manuel don't mind me telling you all. Manuel once served in the faith of the Jehovah Witness, but for a period of time. But then he came from under the Jehovah Witness, and sometimes he do do religious debate. But of course, we're not gonna do religious debate. But he is my friend on TikTok, and I am a disciple. I am a Christian, and I believe in the Holy Trinity. He now confesses atheism, so I don't want to just, and he don't mind being on my planner, and he listens to whatever's on my planner. But because of respect to him, I don't want to overly do the religious thing whenever I bring him up, and he did sit through us. So if y'all have any comments, and now sometimes because of what we believe in, like he said, he understands. I'm always just about bringing a little bit religion in, but I do try to respect him. But like I said, he pretty much know the scriptures through and through. So I told him I believe God gonna redeem him one day, but that's all him and God. But do y'all have any opinions on what he's talking about how people are coming together, but then you have another party playing politics? What's your thought on that? Do you have a thought on that too, TB? TB? I know you working, but do you have a thought on that? Uh, I'll go to Ernest. Ernest, do you have a thought on that? Kaya, do you have a thought on what Manuel just? Because I know you like to hear about the politics. Because Ernest will go from town to town helping with politics, and he got upset this last election in Hammond, talking about he ain't gonna vote never no more. But I'm praying on him. But anyway, what you want to say, Ernest?
How do I come on?
You own. You own. I just have to put you in the big box.
Oh, okay.
What's your thoughts
Okay.
on what Manuel shared with us?
Yeah, I get real upset when it comes down to politics. You know that. Because of my own time, my own blacks, the way they vote, the way they abuse the vote polls when it comes down to trying to do better for us as black people. That's all I'm concerned about. And knowing way or knowing good and way that it was wrong to vote for Donald Trump.
DT. Said DT. Said DT.
DT. Well, I don't mind calling the name DT. But Lord will be in store for the 20th of this month. They know what they have done to all of us, not just for self-gain and themselves, money and getting paid under the table, and all this foolishness I'm hearing, but we're in store for some trouble. I know it is. And when we vote, we should think about the struggles. We should think about all the blood, sweat, and tears that our ancestors had to go through to get us to where we are today. And every time I think about it, I get upset. That's why I don't really want to get too much on the air. But I may say stuff I don't want to say because I'm angry and I'm mad about what they have done to all of us, just for self-gain, just for money, or whatever cost. But they're going to cost us a lot because under this administration, our government know we're going to suffer. And I'm going to suffer along with them the way they voted and what they've done. The White House is going to be controlled. And I know this by a lot of racist groups. They've taken over the White House. They are being appointed right now as of this day. And every last one of them is from a racist group. I want them to know that even they're going to try to control the United States Army on all of us. We may be facing something we've never faced before. That's what I want them to understand, what they have done. And I'm going to still say that we had an opportunity and a chance to really be the United States is a big United States, but what they have done now have voted for it to be the United States of America. But I can't say much as I want to say right now, but all I know, we're in for something that the worst thing we've ever seen for in our life the next 4 years. As far as being black people, a lot of stuff going to be dismounted. They're trying to do it. They're going to dismantle. They're trying to dismantle Social Security. They're trying to dismantle EEOC. I worked 30 years on my job. In them 30 years, I suffered on that job with all type of racist stuff that I had to fight with EEOC. They talking about dismantling that. Equal Opportunity Employee Commission. That's the only thing we had to protect us on the job. They talking about even destroying and breaking down and dismantling the Department of Justice. That's the only thing we got to do. That's the only way we had to do against our civil rights when we are being beat and brutalized and killed by the police.
Unalive. You can't say that on TikTok. Unalive. I know you learning unalive. Okay. Go ahead.
But all I'm saying is that we are in for some trouble. And all we got to do is sit back, strap yourself in, and get ready for this ride. I'm turning the platform back over to you.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say this. We don't have to just sit back. There's some things we can do, and as Manuel said, is to still advocate the vote and still try to get the people out for the midterm. And like the statement you made in the video you made after this last election, because we all campaigned for the black mayor here in Hammond, and you was disappointed with that. And you were disappointed with our people, how they didn't come out and they didn't vote. And then when we turn around and with this election here with Kamala and all across the country, people did not come out. And then some of our people chose to vote the other way. And I know that really disappointed you. And then there was some rules and some things put on the thing for Hammond that lost because the people was unaware or didn't come out and vote. So I know that can be very discouraging. But on another flip side, because you have been a man of the cloth for a long time, uh, even though like Manuel said, as he said, us Christians, us people who always give it to God, we have to realize that there is a reality of bondage. There is a reality of humans on earth changing rules in countries and places because it's going to happen before in other countries. So we can't sit back and say because God is in control of the universe, that things won't happen just as you are saying, Elder Carlson, but we can still hold fast to the God that we serve is still yet able. But how many of us are really uh, serving him, and how many of us is really taking it to him and then taking action? And that's where Manuel come in. Even though he's not religious anymore and he claimed atheist, he have the common sense principle of getting out and voting. He have the common sense principle of writing your Congress and taking action, not just making a lot of noise about it and talking about it, but being about it and doing it in the right way. As I tell a lot of people, I'm not as educated as many, so I have to solicit someone to write the letters and stuff for me that they would even pay attention to it. Because sometimes, if you're not on a certain education level, they won't even pay attention to you. And that's why I thank God for Manuel and Mr. W. They are educated. So I bring them on this platform. Munson has somewhat education and some more of them. So I bring people like that in my surrounding that can explain and can expound in a such a way that they will be heard and somebody will get the information and take it and take heed to it. Because just like on here, because I may not be on that level, they might not pay no attention to me. But when they hear Emmanuel, they hear Mr. W, and they know these people have been schooled and these people have been trained and these people research. Emmanuel don't come on here and say a lot of stuff just to be saying it. He researches, and sometimes he'll research it right then when he's talking about it, of what actually is happening in the government. But of course, we always bring the spiritual part back about we are going to pray, but even the Bible tells us and Christianity tells us, don't just pray, get busy, just like Obama told us. Uh, don't just say yes we can, vote, or don't boo, vote. He said don't just boo, but vote. So no matter how bad it is, and no matter how many times we get disappointed, the fight still remains, and we can't give up on voting, just like we can't give up on advocating for Jesus. We can't get up on evangelism. We can't get up on preaching, because there's still people like Daniel. There are still other people. A whole lot of my associates here right on TikTok. A lot of the rooms I go into, they openly say they are atheists, but I thank God that we are able to still commune together and for a purpose. And that's most of them that are that we do it for politic purposes. And they are very knowledgeable, every one of them. The only problem I have with most of them, and I tell them on their platform, and they allow me to do it because, as Manuel said, when he come in my room, he know where he coming. But like I said, I still don't want to overdo it, because he come for the purpose of the politics. But as I tell him always, though, more people are worried that don't know who they serve than those who know that God is in control. And even though, and I said this other day, man, I don't know if you agree, but I feel like this, as far as coming from a black community, the black people endured slavery, hard taskmasters. The black folks endured all the wars, World War One, World War Two. Black people and people, if they really look back on it, they endured. It might have been hard and they didn't want to be uncomfortable. But then that I do serve a true and living God, sometimes I believe He makes us uncomfortable for all the ones who that 70% of this United States that don't serve Him, that don't acknowledge Him. Sometimes He move His hand back and allow that discomfort, trying to turn people back to Him. Uh, but I believe that if we was able to survive slavery, we were able to survive all the wars. We've been always able to survive prejudice, racism, and being on the low end on our jobs. We've always had to endure that. We've always been able to endure it. And if we go through a Great Depression, even now, we know how to sleep in our cars. We know how to sleep in one room, 5 or 6 people. We know how to get out on the grills and cook. We know how to, well, I don't know how to do it, but some of the black people I know, and some white people, white tea. You can't say white. You have to say white tea. We know how to mend and sew and sew clothing and do this and do that. Now, on the flip side, though, because we got so comfortable, and some people have not appreciated it. And sometimes God will move his hand and allow all these things to happen because people don't appreciate it. People are getting the checks, they're getting the Social Security, they're getting all this different stuff. But do they appreciate it? Are they handling it with care? Are they handling it and glorifying God also with it? Not so much at the church paying the time, but are they giving? Are they helping those in need? Are they doing anything extra with these extra funds they get? Or are they just saying, I got mine and I don't care about nobody else? And when you talk about the ones that's in the White House, we talk about individual people. So God can, and it could get rough, as Elder Costa said. It could get rough, as Manuel have said it. It could get like the H man did over there in Germany and stuff. All that could very well happen. So that's why the vote is important. But again, what I was saying to you, Elder Carlin, to make the statement that you made after the last election, you never voted again. That still don't help it either. And I know your frustration. I know how frustrated you is, but that still don't help it. It's a fight that we got to keep on fighting until the end. Just like we got to keep on praising God, we got to keep on compelling men to be saved until the end. That's the same way it is with the political world. And because we're in a fallen world, and for those of us who believe in the eternity, we know, guess what? We got to pray that things just be better with us as a body, or us as a people, or us in general, to include Manuel too, because he's a nice person, and he's a loving person, and he's a kind person, and all he want to do is just live decent in society. So in order for it to be decent for us like that, our vote does count, and we got to find a way. And most of the young generation has to find a way to convince the people coming up how important the vote is. And then us older still have to find a way to go back and revisit to the older people how important the vote is. And I said to the people who don't vote at all, you don't have no business complaining about nothing. You don't have no business getting no food stamps, no discare, no anything care, if you are not a part of the process and a part of making things better and getting things put in place. And that's just my take on that one. Before I bring Manu back up, um, we're talking politics, and we want to be rounded. We don't want to just be Jesus, Jesus, Jesus all day long. We want to be rounded because we live in a society that is run by government. God is the main head, but He allowed us to have governors. He allowed us to have presidents. He allowed us to have these people on earth. Because basically, if he was just talking to us from heaven like he did in the Bible time, we still wouldn't be satisfied. Because that's why he gave judges back then, because they didn't just want him to be him to lead them by a prophet or something. They wanted to have something tangible that they can put their hands on. So anyway, I hope that's making sense to you all. So before you say anything, uh, Ernest, what do you want to say? Is there anything that you would like to say on this when we talk about how hard it's gonna get and whether we can survive it or not, Munson? If you believe that, because I don't believe that we got that many people in office that's just gonna allow uh, this country, the United States, because they've had it too good. But some people say if they let Mr. T get in office, hey, they subject to allow anything because that's just how bad off we are now. So, Muslim, do you have any opinions on this country and the fact that there was a lot of stuff said and there's a lot of things that people want to dismantle and they feel like the party that's in the lead now will do anything they can to sign whatever they can? Or do you believe God has placed enough people in executive positions to kind of put a muffler to it? Because we see things happening now. We see President Biden putting justices in place that they might not be able to move. We see a lot of things actually happening in the news now where I feel it's a move of God. Mr. W said there's a law in California that says that they're not going to allow, it's against ISIS. And I don't think they can overturn that right away. That they will be in trouble if ICE come and try to take people and ship them back to another country. And there was another young lady that was on here about a week ago. She said Canada don't have to close their doors or lock their door because it's limited G power over there. We can't say that word over here in English. You can't just be poo-pooing people with G's because they don't play that over there. And she said that their government is getting ready for DT. Then there's another area. There are several areas that Mr. W and different one of them who came on my platform said that these areas are getting ready to do some stopping, some of the stuff that's going to be going on. That the people who could be deported don't have to just be in a rage. And then some people, I got you on mute, Ernest. Keep your mic on mute until I tell you to come out, okay? But that they don't have to be worried about. I see you back, Mike. Um, so, Muslim, what's a thought? Do you have a thought?
My thoughts are there's this Bible verse in Proverbs that said, when the righteous are in position or in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked is, the people mourn. So it gives note to systems and what happens when you don't have the right people in position, and how that trickles all the way down to the bottom. It's like a company and the CEO or who's ever over that particular branch and or location does not have the type of mindset that he or she needs to have. They're going to put people in place in position that don't have the mindset and the biggest acumen or to create the type of workplace atmosphere that is not hostile and or disrespectful. Carry out characteristics of the leader. How much more the president? All things understood and considered. Systems. Look at the things that we're fighting even in the legal system, where you, princess, got the right to remain silent. But anything you say, even if it's the truth, it's going to be used against you in the court of law. Systems. And so when you deal with it from that perspective, from a spiritual perspective also, in my opinion, we're watching biblical prophecy be fulfilled. We know we didn't come here to stay. We understand how things are supposed to get, and that has to play out. That has to play out in friendships, relationships, marriages, churches, businesses, governments, nation against nation. I mean, how is it going to ultimately get to that point? And then we're watching it play out slowly but surely. But in the meantime, in between time, to what Manuel saying, it's disappointing. It's disappointing. At a time where people are hurting and need, we want to politic and see if we can play chess moves and stuff like that instead of getting to the needs of the people. It's disheartening, it's disappointing, not just from that perspective, but any perspective in life. But in context to the conversation, I ain't got no love for it. I ain't got no respect for it. I just feel like, when we see a need, we meet the need, and we keep going onward and upward together. So it's disheartening altogether. That's my take on it.
Right, and that's just principle, and that's the only reason. That's the only thing I always said to Manu, and Manu said somebody was on the platform one day, and they were saying all the work they had to do to be a citizen, and the young lady was saying, she had to pay all this money, so. At one while, she said she was on here to learn, and she felt a little different after she got off, because she was saying that the people don't get this don't pay the fees that she had to pay to become a citizen, but then they need to go back or whatever. But now you explain to her that sometimes people are in the process of paying, but they don't be got it completed yet. And then on top of that, he felt like she was being hardened to be like, well, they need to go if they don't pay like I paid or whatever. Where is the compassion? And the thing is, to come and find out, when he broke it down to it, most people are trying to get their citizenship, but it's a process. And here they saying the way they was perceiving what the incoming administration was talking about doing is not even give them a chance to get it, just to just start hauling people up. But like I said, that's where prayer comes in, and not saying that it can't start to happen, but that's where the people like the Canada people of God is opening up, and they are flat-footed saying, "Oh, no, this ain't finna happen. Ain't nobody finna come over here. You ain't finna deport nobody over this way. This dog ain't even finna hunt." So thank God for that, and I think that has all to do with somebody's praying or what have you. But let's not never forget, as Muslim just said too, sometimes when we allow people to be in rule, and we didn't want God to just be the guide and light in the rule, we're gonna have evil kings, just like in the Bible we had evil king, we had good king, and he just explained it. This is what happens in this life journey, and things get bad. We know many Bible scriptures where things got bad, and they were under bad kings. And as I read the Bible, and as we do different Sunday school lessons, they talk about who was who father and did evil, who was whose son and did evil, who was who and did good. It's always been going on, always will be going on, even until the end of time. Uh, what you was about to say, Master? You said, could you say something else, or was you saying that earlier?
And this is a question yet a thought. How effective is prayer
Okay.
in the presence of knowledge and understanding? Daddy told us that we perish for a lack of knowledge.
Okay.
So we understand we must be educated on these matters, these dynamics and situations. He told us that faith without works is not profitable. So if we perish for a lack of knowledge, and we understand faith without works is not profitable, then how important is just sitting back saying we're going to pray about it?
Right.
Let's just pray about it. Let's just pray about it. Okay, but okay, after that, what?
Vote.
Let's just pray that the nation get better. Let's just pray that the marriage get better. Let's just pray that we get healthy. Okay, but what tangible, practical things are being done to make it better? And if that's not done, then better should not be expected, in my opinion. But I want to know y'all thoughts.
Okay. Till, before you go to what Muslim just said, what was your thoughts? I saw a lot in the comments, but I can't hardly read all that little writing. So,
It's okay. So brother kind of took the words out of my mouth. And because I personally, I'm not very politically inclined. I don't, and to be honest, I feel that a lot of people in this, and that was me and your mama that was in the comments, and we were talking, and I was saying how I feel that this particular election was very emotionally led, and she was saying it was very racially led, and so I kind of incorporated racism within that comment of it being very emotionally led, because why? I feel like a lot of us were not even politically educated on a lot of the things that each candidate said that they would represented, they would change all of this. A lot of people, and I'm raising my hand, wasn't very politically educated. And so then it became not more so about the politics or what this particular candidate said that they wanted to implement or change, or even, some of the things that they didn't agree with that's under the Biden administration. We literally went based many people who didn't even understand what the Obamacare really was. It's a lot of people, so for me, I just personally feel that this particular election, we 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 dropped the ball because we weren't educated. We really were not educated. It was very emotionally and racially driven, in my opinion.
Okay. And another thing though, when people try, and like I told them on another panel, and I still say that people, uh, we may have won this election. At first, it wasn't meant to be for one reason because some people still are stuck on stupid, are stuck on foolishness, like a lot of the men and the clergies of these ministries around the world, both black and white tea, did not vote for her because she was a woman. That's one thing. A lot of black men and white tea men did not vote for her because she was a woman. So that was a big, big not then. And then there was women and people did not vote for her because she was a woman. And some was just jealous. And then there were people who did not vote for her because she was married to a man of white tea color. Um, there was people that didn't vote for her because they really was not aware of what she actually did in California when it came to sentencing people and how she tried to rehabilitate, as you said, were not informed. And at the last minute, they just started throwing out all the negatives. And then, even with that said, regardless of all of that, all those things there were not enough for you to vote for someone who had been convicted, someone who had just did anything to do with January 6th, period. Anybody that would allow people to come to the Capitol and to allow and tell them to go ahead and they go down there and do all of that. That was just a strike right there. Forget about all the raping and the past, how you treat women and all that. Just the fact that you're in the highest office and you condone a bunch of foolishness and the way you ran your campaign the first time around with all the rhetoric and bringing all these people out of the networks that were racist and different things like that. That was enough. And now a lot of people also voted for him that want to be in the faith, and we already know how messed up that is. They voted for him strictly because of two things that they considered to be bad. And some of them didn't vote for Obama the second time only because of him signing the same gender marriage. And so that's another reason because they are not satisfied. A lot of people have left the Democrat Party because they're not satisfied with the Democrat Party accepting letting people be who they want to be because God let people be who they want to be. People don't understand too that you got to divide church and state. You got to divide that. If you're president of the United States of America, you're not just a president of your faith and what you believe. You're a president of all the people, and you got to get other people their rights. Long as it's not unaliving people for nothing, and long as it's not hideous crimes that they are wanting to do and get away with it. You got more of that going on than the people calling themselves conservative. You want the presidents to have immunity. You want the police to have immunity. You want this one to have immunity. Saying if they do a crime or if they do something wrongly to people, they get off. You don't have to judge them. You don't have to put them under no sentence. They don't have to obey the law. They can do anything they want to do. And then we saw that this is only one person has been able to do all these things, be president twice, and just keep on being in the public and not be locked down, be a felon, still can vote, but everybody else uh, can't do this. So, but the same agenda thing and having people having rights that are not their biological birth, because you can't say such words. And then because of the AB law, and the AB law is a very important law that helps people who need help, regardless of the ones who may abuse it. You look at the whole picture. how many actually need help and how many it actually helps. But you got a group of people in the name of religion, in the name of they say Christianity. Got people don't even want to be Christian no more because these people say they represent God, but they really don't because they're not rightly dividing God's word. They're not understanding the love of God as a whole. Um, I'm not saying that God is not concerned about people unenlivened and different stuff like this, but I'm willing to bet you my bottom dollar that God is more concerned of you getting in office, making laws to stop children from having enough food to eat, making laws to stop parents from being able to go work and have daycare assistance paid for, making laws that will help the elderly do better and help families be able to take care of their sick people better and be able to home them and still you cut all the things that serve humanity that are good opposed to you worrying about who wanna do what with their own body, which is none of your business, first of all. Whether it be AB or whether it be same gender. We as Christians, the only problem, the only business we have with internet, if we send the word was not of God, that's what we teach and preach in our space. And that's what we teach our children and our family in our space. And then if we work at the courthouse, if the courthouse said, and if you're a justice, now you make some agreement with the people that I just can't do it. Can you get another justice to do it? Well, that's fine. But if they say that that's the only way you're gonna keep your job, God in heaven, you must know your Father better than that. To know that if you perform that ceremony at that job, God is not gonna hold you accountable for that. Now, in your church, in your own setting, if you're a clergy and you refuse to do it, that's why there's a separated state and church. So now, when the other genders and the other people start trying to tell the church that they got to do this because this is what they believe, that's a problem. That's a problem. But as far as the United States of America, we got to know the truth. And a bunch of people, because I talk to people, and all of them are not MAGA, and all of them are not with this foolishness, make America great again. All of them are not really for him, but they from the shadow of the principles of two rules that they think are above all the other sins in the world. You know, so that's something that I saw in there. And then we use too much. People use scare tactics. I was never satisfied with people hammering Project 25 down people's nose and down their throat, and that made people go more further to that person, figuring that everybody just trying to down this person, everybody just trying to make this person a black sheep, everybody trying to do this person dirty. The more you hammered that down, the more you made this person seem like he was sent from hell. That's the more people disbelieved you. And then when I found out that this thing by the foundation had been in existence of over 40 some years, ever since we got segregation the first time, they've been trying to figure a way to put us back and had them wrote this manual, 900-page manual to put us back. And when I found out how old it was, I wasn't too much interested in it. But then, as people told me that they revised it in 2020, I understand a little bit more how they did, how they was worried about it, and figured that he had already did a few things like overturn Roe versus Wade with the Supreme Court and blah blah blah. They figured he could try to get some of this other stuff, and then they say he said out of his mouth, it's he said, y'all, disclaimer, not me, that he said that he wanted to be a dictator and didn't want you to have to vote anymore. So I can understand people being a little disgusted with that and thinking that, well, maybe he might interact this. But how many people actually know the branches of government and know how government actually works? Even if he do have mostly the House as Republican or whatever, how many people know that if you pray, the God in heaven will allow some of the Republicans to piggyback and go against him? So we don't have to fear just because they got more Republicans that they all are actually going to agree with him. Yeah, that's what they say. But that, like Master said, what you think is prayer for, what you're praying for if you don't believe prayer works. But of course, if you're atheist and if you don't believe in God, you don't believe prayer works. You know, so we can understand, and we got a lot of people, and that's what our problem is too in this society. We got so many people. You know, I'm so naive, y'all. God called me to be evangelist, and I'm finally in these last few years realizing that truly evangelism is necessary, and I am truly called for a great work because I was raised in the church. And I knew we sin, go party, do our little thing, commit a little adultery, fornication, curse, maybe some lie, steal a little bit over here. But to really find out so many people just would not accept that God is and accept the Holy Trinity, I was dumbfounded, or to just to see that so many people just are straight out atheists, just believe in existing and don't believe in no form of God. That just blows my mind. So I know now why I have a job to do. So, so you got all that's going on. So, but for the Christianity that these people portray, that's stuck on stupid, that's just ridiculous. But just like Daniel said, with all the religion, with all the Christianity, with all the principles and your relationships with God, there are still principles to society that if you don't vote, ain't no change gonna come. And I know I'm rambling. I'm rambling. Thank you, Tia, to be. Uh, come on in the house, my baby. Um, your mama. And I'm gonna get back to you, man. I know we're going over a whole lot. I will get back to you also, Ezekiel. Come on, your mama. Are you able to talk to your mama? She might be trying to come up on mic. Okay. Okay. Can you come off your mic, your mama? There you
Hey,
go.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was off the mic. I finally got a free moment from Miss Evil Knievel in the back. However, we will press on. I have been listening to some of what you were saying about, political context and people not voting, participating in voting, the frustrations that we have with our government. And I think that those contentions have always existed since the beginning of time. Hence why we have had to fight so hard for equity and inclusion. Um, Tia had mentioned that, it was an emotional process that people were voting for. But, it is sad that we still use that, a lack of ignorance to justify why people are not participating in the process or X, Y, and Z. Because the truth of the matter is that a lot of these folks who voted for the person who will now sit in presidency have voted against their own self-interest, and that includes African Americans, that includes Latinos, as well as poor white teen folks. Okay, and what I would like to say in regard to that is that you said that people have done this in the name of religion, that people have done this in the name, but I want to make a clear distinction that it is not doing it in the name of religion. It is doing it under the guise of religion. And the guise, or contextually what guise means, is that there's a concealing part to it, that we use it in the name of the Lord. However, there's a huge undertone in this country of racism. There's a huge epidemic in this country of classism, of gender racism. All kinds of things exist. All kinds of biases exist in the name of God, right? That we're trying to get back to good old Christian values and making them, the slang and all of that he has been projecting, that we are doing this to make it great again and all these other things. But that is only a guise, and it's a smokescreen to really what the bigger and the real issue is. And we must call it like we see it, and it is racism. Um, I'll give you an example of that. In corporate America, out of all the Fortune 500 companies that exist in corporate America and beyond, right? Because the Fortune 500 list is just quantitative of those 500 companies that are doing the most successfully in that category. But as we
well know and are aware of that there are far more than 500 corporate, 500 companies that exist in America. However, within that spectrum, within that scope of just corporate America alone, only 8% of upper echelon management in corporate America are African American or Black, and majority of that 8% are men. So when we look contextually at those statistics, about only 8% of the workforce, of the Black workforce, being in upper echelon, meaning in the highest management positions that there can be within corporate America, only 8% of those are Black. So even within the context of my office, right, I have more education than the specialist does, right? And yet she charges her patients, oh, go ahead and see my receptionist. They try to minimize your education, your knowledge, your wherewithal, down to just simply being the phone keeper, just simply being a janitor, right? Just simply, oh, you couldn't possibly be an educator, oh, you couldn't possibly be this, right? And have minimized that education when truly, really and truly, I should be getting paid her salary plus some due to my experience and my education. But I say that to say that look at the microaggressions that exist in 2025 and that have even been present as of today, as I heard it within earshot of a patient saying, oh, I'm merely the receptionist. Absolutely not. But I do say that contextually to the conversation to include if I have been minimized in my education, in my expertise, in my knowledge, in my core, in my wherewithal within the workforce, can you imagine the scrutiny that she faced when she was running for the presidency? Within this own setting of the office, I have heard white people come in here as patients and say, oh, well, that Black woman, oh, she's not qualified for the presidency. And we're talking about qualifications. I'm like, if we really go north of our, we can clearly see who is not qualified to be in this position and who is. But the narrative still exists that are the silent things, that those are the silent idiosyncrasies that people like to hide behind and speak in the back offices of places, speak in the den, in the living rooms, in the churches, and the congregations, but they use the guise of God, right? Oh, I love God. Oh, I don't see color. Oh, I love God's people. When the whole narrative is, oh, she's a Black woman, she's not qualified. So if we can't even get Black people in upper echelon management in Fortune 500 companies, and we only have occupied only 8% of those spaces in those positions. Can you imagine that they could even stomach a president, let alone a woman, let alone a Black woman at that, to be their president? That is the silent thing that needs to be spoken. That in this election, nobody wanted a Black woman telling them what to do. Nobody wanted a Black woman being over this country, making those decisions, because we are still in a position, we are still in a narrative, still have these strongholds, we still have to deconstruct systemic racism in this country, because that is the guise that lies beneath the surface. Those are the silent things that people don't want to address, the things that people don't want to say out loud, is that this country has a racism issue. They refuse to acknowledge the history of this country. They try and attempt to put in legislation the eraser of our history, right? And saying, oh, hey, critical race theory. Oh, no, we can't. And to minimize our culture, our history, to just that, right? Critical race theory. That they want to erase the truth of what has happened in this country, how they have benefited off of the economic blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors, and then want to lie to future generations and generations to come. Oh, it was just an exchange of work. Oh, they enjoyed the experiences and all of those lies, those sinister, nasty lies that we yet still have to endure, that we yet still have to fight for, right? That even in 2025, we are still on the front lines of trying to fight for equity, right? We've already seen things about DEI programs for Walmart and all these companies not wanting to put diversity, equity, and inclusion programs into the workforce. So even in this present day, we are still fighting the fight for equity. We are still fighting the fight for the future generations that are to come. Because remember that when you have children and your children's children exist, that we're not just fighting for today, but we are fighting for future generations to come.
Amen. Thank you so much. Before your mama get off the big stream, did anybody want to ask her anything? Did y'all can come up your mic? Uh, uh, Ernest, was it anything you wanted to say to your mama? Okay, he's not up the mic. Yeah, Ernest, did you want? Yeah, you're on.
She said a whole lot. She said a mouthful. She said exactly what I wanted to hear. She covered every ground, every territory that I've been talking about over the last few months.
Okay.
He said it all, so nothing much I know I can say. I love what she said and what she thought. I mean, I even love what you say, what you talks about, because that's what it's all about. Y'all covered a lot of good territory, a lot of good ground.
Ernest, I want you to hang in there to me. I don't want you to give up on voting, but we'll talk. We're right here in Hammond together. We're going to be getting together because we're going to be advocating. We're going to make this thing work. Manuel is going to be coming in and out here in Mr. W. And even for Louisiana, I'm going to get them to do different researches so they can help us out so we can be well aware of who's doing what and who didn't do what. And we can be educated enough when we're talking about something that we can know if it's true or if it's untrue. Thank you, your mama.
No, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Okay. Before you come back up, Manuel, was there anything else you wanted to piggyback on, Tia? TD?
No, ma'am. I dropped the mic.
Okay. Okay. All right, my man, Manuel. Yeah, Manuel is young too. And Manuel is tell him what your original nationality is, Manuel.
Okay, so I'm born in America. I'm first generation Mexican American.
Okay.
Ay, ¿qué pasó, mi gente?
Y dándole ganas, ¿sabes?
Good job. Now, what did y'all say? What did you say to him, your mama?
I said, what's going on, my people? Soy nuevo mexicano. Soy porteña.
Oh, she cut up, y'all. She cut up. She cut up. And what did you say back to her? You said hello back, May.
So just putting in work, putting in effort, moving forward, type thing. The exact translation, echándole ganas would be like, putting in effort, I guess.
In efforts, yeah.
What would be the more direct translation? More like saying I'm hanging in there.
And man, you tell him how old you are because he's so knowledgeable for this old woman.
I'm 33 years old. I'll be 34 here in February.
And then your mama is so knowledgeable to this old woman too. We got to get together. She got to teach this woman how to talk a little bit better so she can draw more support.
Well, that's it. So that was a lot of interesting commentary on my breakdown of the things that were going on in California. But no, seriously, like I agree with pretty much everything that was said. I mean, as an atheist, like the religious aspects are just kind of like for me. But when it comes to like, I think for the most part, we all agree politically, and we all agree with the injustices that are going on in this country that need to be fixed. That are making a lot of people suffer, particularly the Black community. But I will commend the Black community in the fact that even though a few did vote for DT, the overwhelming majority of the Black community, and especially Black women, they understood the assignment and they came out. And they once again,
excuse me, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They once again came out to pretty much try to save everybody else. And once again, unfortunately, they were America shows just how little care they have for that community with this vote. So, that's a very unfortunate thing there. But so I was gonna move on real quick to the next thing.
Thank you for filling that out, Emmanuel. I just really, Emmanuel. I appreciate that, and I just want to say that when you say that we understood the assignment, Black women for Kamala raised $1.5 million in 3 hours. So we really understand the assignment collectively. So thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am. So I was going to move on to what in my personal opinion, and I might be a little biased because it is happening in my home state, but I still feel that it's probably the most crucial thing that's going on right now, the most important court issue that's going on right now that affects the nation, but is getting very, very little coverage overall. And that is here in the state of North Carolina, the incumbent Supreme Court Justice Allison Riggs was voted in. She's a Democrat. She was actually voted in again to keep her seat on our Supreme Court. Now, she won by only 734 votes over the Republican who was running. His name is Jefferson Griffin. Now, in the initial count and in both recounts, it showed very clearly that she won the election. And what Republicans are doing now, the Republican Supreme Court has actually put a stop on certifying that election because they want to hear an argument from Jefferson Griffin, who is trying right now to throw out 60,000 North Carolinian votes in order to overthrow the North Carolinian people's vote right here. And the reason why this is so important is because this is effectively what he's trying to do, what Jefferson Griffin is trying to do by throwing out 60,000 votes. He's effectively doing or trying to do what DT failed at doing back in 2020, which was get rid, completely just overlook the voting of people here in the United States in order to win their election. So even though this is happening in North Carolina, the reason why it has wider implications, why it's dangerous for the country, is because if he succeeds and he gets on the North Carolina Supreme Court, obviously it's going to be even worse for North Carolina, who already has a very conservative Supreme Court. But it will set a precedent that this act that Republicans are doing of throwing out votes by the thousands because they just don't like the votes is something that will be set as precedent in our legal system, in our judiciary system. So the Board of Electors here in North Carolina tried to push it up to the federal level, and a federal judge kicked it back to the state, and they're appealing that decision because they want North Carolina's Board of Electors is trying to appeal that to push it back up to the federal level, because this really is something that, if they succeed, could affect not just North Carolina, but it could also set the groundwork for Republicans in the future. Like I keep on talking about how important it is for us to come out and vote in 2 years in the midterm elections to get Congress back. If they're able to do this, this will set a precedent that will allow Republicans to effectively just dismiss votes that they don't like, just throw them out. And notably, even though these 60,000 votes are the same ballots that carried the vote for Donald Trump or for ET here in the state of North Carolina, even though it's the same ballots that won every other conservative win in North Carolina, including Congress seats, they're not arguing about those ones. They're only specifically worried about the one where Allison Riggs won her re-election. which just shows how trash this argument is. Because on the very same ballots, they accept the idea of DT winning the presidency. They're not arguing about the possibility of that not being a thing. They're not arguing about the Congress people right now that North Carolina has, the conservatives who won their congressional seats. No, 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 no. But on the same ballot, oh, Allison Grace won her reelection. No, we can't have that according to these Republicans. So, like I said, this is a very dangerous precedent that if successful, could very well affect voting throughout the nation. And a lot of people, like, especially among minority communities, there's already work from Republicans to like make it harder for minority people and just poor people in general, whether minority or white, to come out and vote. And now this is a situation where they're just like, oh well, if you vote the way we don't like, we're just gonna throw out your vote because we don't like it. So yeah, that's a major issue that's going on. I think it's not getting nearly enough nearly enough press time because of the danger that this poses, not just for North Carolina but the wider United States. So that's what's going on here. If you guys want to comment on that.
And that's another reason why it's not getting press because they don't want the people to know, and then they want to ease it and get by with it there, like you said, and then go over to some other states and pull it in and get rid of it there. And next thing you know, we'll have just like they got up in Georgia and a lot of these places, they have been remade all these different laws about voting that suppress the vote. So yeah, so it's on purposely not getting out. Lady K, did you want to say anything about anything that's been said today and about what Manuel just said? You got what I got, huh?
Excuse me. I turned my mic off. Excuse me. I was just thoroughly enjoying everyone speaking. So much was said, so much knowledge was said, and today it's always a privilege and honor to hear your mama.
Excuse me.
Oh, excuse me, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm just on your radar.
Okay. Your mama, concerning what Manuel just shared with us, what do you think about that?
I think that is very typical of the party to be doing that, right? Because these antics and these tactics go all the way back to redlining, right? And which is still happening today in many, many parts of the world. Really trying to cheat, trying to finagle and finesse to suppress voters. It happens all the time here in Georgia as well. Um, and what I will speak to when it comes to, Manuel and what he was saying about Riggs and Griffin, what is also more dangerous is that, a lot of those votes that he is trying to cast the eye of suspicion on came from those who served in the military overseas and so forth. So what does that say about our governmental system in allowing those who are actually actively serving our country and are associated with those who are actively serving our country getting a fair opportunity and chance to vote without an eye of suspicion being cast upon those who are actually in servitude to this country and other parts of the world, but yet are trying to invalidate their votes. I think that it is convoluted, but I think that it is typical for the desperation of the party to try to use these antics to gain at their will, right? Because here in Georgia, we had a huge mass crisis about, voter suppression, about giving water to people in line, and that if you were giving out and passing out water and trying to give aid and relief to those who have been waiting in line for hours and hours, that their votes validated. And so it's those sort of tactics that are typically used, such as redlining, such as tactics during the polling sessions of giving, water and aid out to citizens, that are very typical of our voting process. Hence why we continue to fight the good fight. Hence why we continue to have to be on the front lines of things, because these injustices exist. And as he said, this is something that is trying to fly under the radar. So you're not going to see it front page news, because then people are going to say, hey, well, wait a minute. As he said, precedents are so important within the judicial system, because once that precedent is set, then other courts and precedents are used as a standard to say, okay, well, in this ruling, this was a precedent, so then we can start to apply that to other judicial law. Okay, well, look at, such and such case as the precedent for this case. And so it's like a copy and paste that is trying to be replicated throughout this country, starting in North Carolina. And so it is so important for us to not only participate and pay attention to our government at large, but even more so your local jurisdiction, your local government hierarchy is what is so important, because that truly is impactful to your everyday life. Those are the property taxes that you pay, how your schools are operated, the funding that they get, your roads and infrastructure. All of that happens at your state level. And so it is so important that we be mindful to not only actively participate in government and national elections, but we need to be participating in our local elections even more. Paying attention to who our government officials are. Excuse me, Sherilyn, can you go on mute, please? It's a little bit distracting. I'm hearing noise come. Um, um, but also participating in government on a local level is so important, because those are the enacts, those are the laws, those are the budget funds and the people, whether they be your city councilmen or your governors, of your state. But it truly has an effect on your everyday life. So I wanted to say that too. That voter suppression is not only happening like within our state grounds, but also, he's questioning votes that are overseas for those who are serving in our military as well.
Okay. Thank you for coming in, Shirley. I didn't want you to get off the stage, but anyway, thank you, your mama. All right, I was gonna have I don't know if this right here. I didn't hit the right thing. But anyway, I wanted to put menu back. Okay, well, menu right there, so that's good. But menu, was there anything else before we get somebody else up, or try to invite somebody else up to ask you any questions? Was it anything else that you want to share with us today?
Okay, so aside from the issues in California, I mean, like I said, there's a lot going on. I was just trying to like focus on the major issues, but something that will affect everyone on this platform, something I can delve into is so there is currently supposed to be a ban on TikTok in the next few days. Supposedly it's on the 19th. Now, if you already have it downloaded on your phone, it's not going to disappear from your phone. You'll still be able to access it. The problem is going to be that you won't be able to download updates. So over time, your ability to use TikTok is going to start glitching a lot more as more and more updates come out. If you have a VPN, you can get around this, because VPNs will make it seem like you can use your VPN to show that you're not actually in America. It'll hide your IP address to make it seem like it's not coming from America. So that's pretty useful if you want to go that route. So that's just something to keep in mind for people still using TikTok. You might want to get with your communities to see about maybe if they're going to move to a different platform and find out where that
It's,
will be.
well, I was told by two of the people that I socialize with on here that there's one called Diamond 8 or something like that. And then
DNA.
there's another one. But I also heard briefly want to say it was last night. I went. I saw Miss Sugar Sweet them on talking, and evidently something came out in the news that says we don't have to worry about it. I don't know if somebody bought it because they were saying if somebody happened to buy it, we wouldn't have to worry about it uh, going on either. But I don't know what happened, but she shared something that looks like it's gonna be all right. But then also, I know I was looking at the news by my mom, and I'm looking at President Biden sign the papers to ban it. So, but then somebody said, regardless of if they ban it or not, it'll be a process, like you just said. It wouldn't happen overnight. But I think there's too much business involved here. And then I think I kind of overheard them say last night that whereas people thought it was owned by China, it's not. They said, according to what they said last night, that it's not owned by China. And they said a couple other things. So I think,
Well, the issue isn't that the Chinese government owns it so much that it's owned by a company in China, and because of the setup of the Chinese government has a lot more influence on what businesses do there in China, so they can actually they can pull records and stuff like that. So it's about personal information. You know, TikTok, just like every other social media app, um, is constantly gathering information on people. It feeds the algorithm, and it also feeds what advertisements are given. Um, on social media, basically, the reason that you can use social media freely is because the product on social media is you. That's what the companies are selling. They're selling the information of its users to advertisers, who then can use the algorithm to send you specific advertisements according to what it seems like you're interested in. And that's pretty much how social media works. That's how it makes its money. um, it actually makes a lot more money from that than it does from the gifts and everything. Even though TikTok makes like 50% on the gifts and everything that are sent here, that doesn't really account for most of their earnings. Every social media company does this. The real issue here is because it's owned by a Chinese company, they're worried that the Chinese government could use that not only to get information on American citizens, but also to influence American thinking, put out propaganda, like just subtle pro-Chinese propaganda and what have you. So that's really the worry of the American government there. Now, there's no influence that the Chinese government has done this yet, as of yet, but it is what it is. I mean, TikTok's been around a while. So there's people in Congress also fighting to stop the ban of TikTok, to extend the deadline for people for somebody else to purchase it and what have you. So there's a lot going on. But as of right now, it's the 19th, I believe, is when the goes into effect. Again, for anybody who already has TikTok downloaded on their devices, you'll still have it on your phone. You'll still be able to access it, but it's basically just going to disappear from the app stores. American app stores will no longer support it, and thus, when TikTok gets its updates, you won't be able to get those updates, and it'll take a while for you to, and eventually your ability to use TikTok is going to be diminished as it gets glitchier as your particular version isn't going to be supported by the TikTok servers. Again, you can bypass this with a VPN. I have a free VPN myself, so I mean, there's certain VPNs you can get for free that won't cost you anything, and VPNs are just good in general, just for basic information security and protecting your IP address in general. But yeah, so that's what's going on as far as something that might affect everybody here in their communities on TikTok. You still likely want to get with members of your community and start talking about other platforms you might go to, and maybe even if TikTok ultimately isn't banned, it's probably still a good idea to go ahead and start profiles on new platforms. You can go ahead and start building a following. I know it takes forever and it's frustrating. Like I only have a few hundred followers on this account, and I have two other accounts, and now all of a sudden this is happening, and it was already a struggle to build the followers that I have, and now I'm gonna have to restart. I know the frustration of that, but if you want to keep in contact with the community and people like the wonderful princess here, who's always gives her panel to a lot of different people with a lot of different ideas. Again, I'm an atheist, and she's very much an evangelical who's like constantly doing Christian stuff, and still lets me on her platform and very, very respectfully and very, very kindly talks about me as somebody who's in her eyes a good person, and I very much appreciate that from her. So if you want to keep up with communities like this, you might want to get up with the different creators and different members of your community. Just keep that in mind. You know what you're doing as far as the TikTok situation. There's nothing concrete yet as to what's going to happen. It's just something with the situation, the current deadline coming in soon. We need to be careful with that. So that's it on TikTok.
Maya, I want you to inbox me what you just said. But before you go to any other talking points, the lady that I was talking to earlier, that I was talking and speaking of, that I kind of overheard her say something about TikTok last night. Looked like we might be okay. Hey, lady, Sister Sugar, how you doing? Miss Sugar, she gotta come off that mic. Miss Sugar, she in the room, but she can't. I don't even see.
You got unmute.
But I don't even see her mute. It don't look like
No,
it.
I mean, on my screen, she's on mute.
Okay.
So she'll need to. There she goes.
I'm sorry, y'all.
So what can you tell us? What Manuel, we were talking about the political world for a minute here and some things that's happened in North Carolina, and then he was talking about the fire in California, and he was talking about how the Republican Party tried to bring politics in it while y'all out there are hurting. Some of your neighbors are hurting out there. But we're gonna get back to that. But then he just got through wrapping up the little part he knew about TikTok. But I overheard you when I was in the hallways last night. Said something looked like TikTok gonna be all right. Did somebody buy it? Did Biden undo the ban or what happened?
Oh, yeah, no, there was the attorney that's representing TikTok. They spoke. Uh,
You went back on mute.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I get the call. They spoke before the Supreme Court, and what the misinformation was, I sat down and listened to it again. Everybody said TikTok is owned by the Chinese, but they showed a clear proof that TikTok is not owned by the Chinese. Who holds what percentage of TikTok? The company that owns it is in the Cayman Islands, which that's an offshore account. So that's kind of concerning. There's one person that is of Asian descent, and he's in Singapore that owns 20%.
Excuse me.
The employees own a percentage. So he painted a picture which he presented his case that showed it was no interest of China and any other foreign entity. And TikTok is actually in California. Their servers are here. It's managed here, and they follow the guidelines. And if anyone of a foreign country called and asked for data, they would not be able to get it. They would not turn over personal data because they're following. They are a corporation here in the United States, and they have to follow certain guidelines of that corporation. And so they're looking at it now, and it could be a stay to clarify everything. That's what they asked for, a stay to stay in position till they go through the courts have the opportunity to go through the documents, which is 290 days, 280 days. So they're still fighting for it. And what he said, the way they present it, I don't see any courts
denying.
Granting that TikTok is banned because it is infringing upon our freedom of speech. They monitor anything that's false information, whatever, they take it down. You guys know that. Any false information, you say something that's false, they're going to shut you down. So they're following the guidelines. So we'll see what's going to happen. They have a few days to really make a decision if they're going to grant the stay. And then if they do, that gives them time to present their case with further, but they did present it with documents supporting. So
it don't matter the fact that I saw President Biden on one of those news stations sign the ban.
Well, you got to remember, we're getting information at different times. What you saw could have been an old reel a couple of weeks ago.
No, it just was right before, a couple of days before you said this happened. So it's probably recently, but it was just a couple of days.
You saw it, what was the date on it? Because he signed the ban a while back.
Oh, I didn't know that. I saw something on, I think it might have been CNN or MSN or something like that.
Yeah, it was signed. Go ahead.
This has been an ongoing issue for like 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it might even reach back to DT's last administration where they were discussing it.
Yeah.
The signing of the ban by Joe Biden was early in his administration. So we're talking, that happened around like I think 2 years ago.
So what I saw on the TV the other day, it was a flashback.
Yeah, and that was an old reel. So you got to remember when you're looking at those things, when did it happen? You kind of have to judge in your mind.
Oh, I'm gonna have to pay attention to that because when that flash across the TV, that was just when was that? That was it was one day when I would talk to Mr. W because I had opened a platform that evening, talking about it. Must have been Wednesday, Thursday. No, it was late because I stayed by my mama's house half the night. So that was probably Friday. That probably was Friday.
You have to remember, just like our videos that we post, they circulate to different throughout the algorithm, and you might see it now, and Red might see it 3 months from now. So those are clips that they go back. He did sign it because it was presented to him from Congress. So that's his job, is to sign bills.
But that was way a while back, is what you're saying, though.
Yeah, that was a while back. So currently, they presented that it is not owned by. That was the big push, the big fight, that our stuff will get into the hands of opposition. But we're posting videos on dancing and music and love songs, relations, and we're not holding no top secret stuff. It's like, what are y'all talking about? So, and they also brought in the fact that there are hundreds of thousands of people who use TikTok to build and grow their business. I'm one of them. And also people are making significant amounts of money. And then they got the office, the main office here in California, which is going to disenfranchise a lot of people.
Right.
Put some content on the table that they don't like. It's jobs, it's money, it's all kinds of people who are shut in. Because when I really got big on TikTok is when I had my surgery. I was down for 9 months.
Right.
And so that was my only form of communication without, I'll call without making phone calls to people, but meeting new people, we built friendships.
Excuse me. Well, I want to thank everybody who came in on the platform on today. both the first 2 hours and these last 2 hours of our Talking Points talk show. And I think the close it out was the best thing on this TikTok today. And I know Mania has some more politics to talk about, but we'll try to get to it again. I wish Mania could come in when I be on 8 to 10. But I know sometimes he be working, and Mr. W. Sometimes I do an extra program around 12:30, so I can get some insights from him. But I'm looking at the clock. In order to be able to replay, I will have to go ahead on and end it. Oh, Mr. W. looked like he's trying to come in. He might have had something for us on today, but I don't have about 3 minutes. Mr. W. We was talking about if you're there and you want to come up, we was talking about some of the things to do with the government. But we do have Maya that was here. We do have Miss Charlotte that was here. But Miss Charlotte, thank you for coming by. You're a little late, but you did come by.
I've been focusing on my business, and I'm not in recovery anymore, so I need to get up, and I have a goal to hit $1 million by June, and I need to be working. So that's what I'm.
Well, I'm gonna be. I told you I was gonna call you and stuff, but I'm definitely gonna text you and call you today. I've marked my word today because we need to set up something with you and my children and some family members and see what we can talk about. And then I got to sit up with another group and see what we can get rolling. Because baby, we gotta get this stuff going. Manuel, you got 2 minutes. Your last remarks.
Okay. Well. In that case, I'll quickly go on like the same thing I do every day. The importance of building your physical community around you. There's a lot of struggling that's going to come with this next administration. So it's very important that you build not just your community on social media, but also your physical community of people around you that you can trust, who will be there when you need help, and who you're in turn willing to help out. On top of that, to focus on learning who your local representatives are. Start getting in contact with them. Start bug them, annoy the hell out of them. Write letters, send emails, call their offices, and tell them what your concerns are. Because if we're not willing to actually go out and actually tell them that, they're not gonna care. They're not gonna pay attention to it. We need to be the ones telling them what we want them focused on. And most importantly, along with building your community, will be getting your community ready for 2 years from now during the midterm elections. Midterm elections have a notoriously low voter turnout. I'm guilty of that as well. I've missed many midterm elections. So it's extremely important, especially in this situation with conservatives having taken over so much and their plans to do a considerable amount of harm to a lot of Americans. It's extremely important that we get out there for the midterms in order to make our voices heard again and get Congress back on our side.
Okay, I don't have any more time. Miss Sure, you're gonna have to be back on here, but I'm gonna schedule it so I can know you'll be in the house whenever we're doing our talking point. Because we have our Bible study from 7 to 8, and actually the 8 o'clock broadcast is supposed to be dedicated to either politics, music industry, and life challenges, and sometimes Word of God. And most of us, like me, that's spiritual. The Word of God always come up in everything. But
And I just remember the time difference.
oh yeah, well that's gonna be 6 o'clock your time while you get the baby ready. But you be up as soon as you finish with him. I need you in the room. All right, man. You remember that, man. You for when you're not working. So, Father, I just thank you for what has been said and hope that somebody got something from it. And until next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Talking Points Talk Show with your host, Princess of Radio, Evangelist DJ Renee, every Monday through Friday, starting at 8 a.m. Thank you for tuning in to the Talking Points Talk Show with your host, Princess of Radio, Evangelist DJ Renee, every Monday through Friday, starting at 8